Hi guys, this is the advisor and welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to tell you how the Jamaican government facilitates the issuing of hits by gunmen from behind bars for killing people out on the streets. Our Jamaican government facilitates, causes cell phones to be in the hands of criminals, gang leaders who rules their empires and decide who gets dirted, who gets promoted, and everything right from their prison cell. And I'm going to tell you how exactly is the government's fault. However, before I get into that, I have three little announcements. I recently put out a blog regarding Constable N. Reid, who resigned recently, and I need to get his story. If anybody knows Mr. Reid, please ask him to get in touch with me. I would love to get I would like to go into finer details about his situation and how he managed to leave the force after 41 years without a single promotion. So please do that for me. Another thing, if people are going to criticize my videos and criticize my points of view, please at least watch the entire video. Watch the entire video. Because if you are going to criticize me and you don't even know how I got to the positions I take, and you don't listen to every single point I used to rationalize, symbolize, conceptualize, and reach using objective reasoning to reach the positions I reach, then you should not be criticizing me because you do not understand how I got to where I am. You can't take your TikTok brain and listen a highly intellectualized 18 or so minute video and decide to use your 4-minute, 5-minute attention span and form a conclusion and decide that this is the reason why I said what I said. At least go through the entire process and then you hit point after point after point to tell me where I'm wrong. This is not just simply about you getting into your feelings and decide I'm wrong, but at least hit down my points. Bring your counterpoints when you're going to say I'm wrong, because you're only going to look stupid. And thirdly, guys, thank you so much. On Saturday, last Saturday, I reached 12,000 views. And by Monday morning, I was 13,000. And I'm now about 300 away from 14,000 in just a matter of 4 days. So, guys, thank you so much for helping me to reach where I am. Continue to share and tell your friends about the advisor. And thank you so much. You're all wonderful. Love you. Yes, guys. Now, I can tell you that the government dropped the ball. Look at how many cell phones are in prison. Right now, I can tell you, every man and his dog inside a prison cell has his own phone. How did those phones get into prisons and lockups? Because it's not just prison. Every lockup, every prisoner in every cell, in every lockup has his own phone, except the ones who can't afford to have one. And these phones are never taken away from them. So, what caused that? Well, I'm going to tell you. Because of government neglect, every prisoner can have a phone. And the system is so slack that it cannot be stopped. It has reached a stage now that the fundamental changes would need to be put in place in order to stop it. But nothing that they can do under the current circumstances can stop phones from going into prisons and into lockups. And here is why. The cost for taking a cell phone into a prison cell or a lockup is $30,000, or in some cases $40,000. Normally it's $30,000 into a lockup and $40,000 into major prisons. But to what I'm hearing, the prison in Montego Bay it's not less than 40,000. So a policeman can augment his salary by just taking in one cell phone per month. But guys, I don't want people to come down hard on the warders and on the policemen who man the cells at the lockup. Because it is the government who caused this to happen. I'm going to tell you why. In the first place, people, ordinary citizens who get themselves in problems and are being sentenced for a crime are not supposed to be unable to communicate with the outside world, generally speaking. And I can tell you, Jamaica is one of the few countries on earth where people cannot just go and make phone calls as they wish while being in jail. In Britain, Canada, Spain, Germany, and so on, Ireland, in those countries, people outside of maximum security, they have pay phones and there are special cards, special phone cards and so on that can be used, and they can call outside and keep in touch with their family. And I think this is necessary and should happen. And under certain laws, if they are not in Jamaica, should be changed to facilitate this. So, first of all, it is the government that has created this need. And if you have a need, it's a market. And if you have a person who needs something to buy, there will always be somebody to sell it. So people needed a service. The service of bringing in a cell phone into a lockup. And somebody on the outside will always be there to give a policeman a 30 grand just for 5 minutes work. All the policeman does when he collects the money, he collects the money, he collects the phone, and then he goes into the lockup and he hands it over. And also, he pays back $5,000 into the system. But before I go any further into the system, let me make it clear. Certain people in a prison know they have cell phone. For example, people who are gang members, especially gang leaders, well, every gang member or who is suspected gang member, people who are suspected of using guns to commit crimes, or any people who are caught with illegal firearms, then those people should never be allowed to have cell phone at no time. What should have happened is that the laws should have been changed, where people who commit, say, well, little fraud, people who throw a stone in somebody's car windscreen, or people who are in debtor's jail. You're doing 21 days because you couldn't pay your rent or you couldn't pay for some debt, and you're in debtor's jail. You go in a lockup, you can be there and you can spend that 21 days with gunmen, with thieves, with rapists, with everybody who you're not supposed to be with. But you as a citizen who fall into that category, little fraud, little whatever, thief, little light, and you JPS catch you, you get locked up, you should be able to call your house. As far as I am concerned, you're supposed to be able to keep in touch with your kids and your family. You are not a hardened criminal. In the Jamaican system, everybody is thrown in together. Therein lies the problem. I think for people who are not hardened criminal but have happened to put a foot outside the law for whatever reason, they should be able to call out, because these people are not hardened criminals, and the facilities should have been available. Legal facilities should have been available for them to keep in touch with home. The Jamaican system should have been changed to ensure that hardened criminals, gunmen or gang members in particular, should be in a maximum security prison. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of El Chapo, that big drug lord from Mexico. Well, El Chapo, our Jamaican prisoners who are suspected or are known people who have been committing murders. Those people should not be put in the regular prison environment or the regular lockup environment. They should be put in maximum security even while on remand. And when I say maximum, I mean their cells should have 24 hours surveillance. They should have in the bathroom, they should have absolutely no privacy. And the cameras should be on them 24 hours. That means that if them even back them fists in a jail, the authorities must know, because that's what they are being paid to do, to monitor them. That way, it's pointless giving them a phone, because no aspect of their cells is ever without surveillance, so they wouldn't be able to use it unless it's caught on camera. So that would take care of that. But let me segue a bit. In the first place, people who are accused or who are suspected of major gun crimes or who are gang members, they shouldn't have even be in maximum security. They shouldn't be alive. Because once people are gang members, once you go for them at 2 a.m. and just dirt them on the spot. That is my opinion anyway. But the ones, if you so happen, which is unfortunate, that you have to take them into custody, they should be under 24-hour surveillance by a team of people who monitor them and watch them and see that they cannot touch a phone. So even if you're going to bribe somebody to take a cell phone inside there, they cannot use it. Simple as that. And then people who have committed minor offenses should then be able, under the law, to have some sort of payphone system set up in prison where they can use and keep in touch with their family until their few months or so are over. Anyway, now I'm going to tell you how the system in prison really works. You find a policeman, you give him a 30,000, or sometimes, as I said in some case, 40,000, and then he takes the phone in. I had told you before that he paid 5,000 into the system. What is the system? Remember, this cannot work unless men higher up, the inspector and the superintendent is aware of it. And them going want for them cut. So every policeman, every constable or corporal who takes a phone in, he then paid 5,000 into the system, and that 5,000 goes into a kitty which goes to pay off the khaki clothes man. This is to prevent the khaki clothes man from shake down the place. And out of that kitty, the other people who gets paid are the people who come to shake down the place, search it thoroughly, and who, in that case, when they search it, don't find anything, even though it is there. I know this sounds totally corrupt, and it is, but at the same time you can have to understand. It is the government who has created this need, and as long as there is a need, there will be somebody to meet that need. There is always a market for any service or product that somebody needs. Somebody will be there to provide it. I hear that in Montego Bay and in General Penitentiary in Kingston, they take 40 grand. And that is because those people have to pay $10,000 into the system. There are many times that cell phones are found in prison, but that is only when the National Search Center, you have a set of police who are from a totally different branch known as the National Search Center. Now those persons, if you put an atom into your button or strand of your hair, they're going to find it. Now, the people at the National Search Center, they are the only ones who cannot be bribed, because they keep to themselves and you can't get to reach them and you don't know when they're coming. But on the few occasions when they turn up and they search and they find phones, it is all kept hush-hush. They simply take the phones away and they go away with them. But you don't see any of this in the newspapers. Most of these phones ends up right back on the streets. You see, because what happened is that these phones get taken away and they get sold at knockdown prices out on the street, the cycle starts all over again. Frankly, I'm not going to blame any of these policemen. It is the government's duty to have fixed this, and it can be fixed. All the government had to do is to separate the hardened criminals who do bloodbaths and take care of them in solitary confinement even when they are on remand, and let the people who simply step a wrong foot out of the way and who is doing a few months or maybe 2-3 years for some very minor incident to be given free access to make whatever calls, because those people are not calling anybody to kill them. They are simply trying to keep in touch with family. And people, even in prison, should be allowed that, because I think that should be part of their human rights. Guys, I would like to know what's your thought on this. Thank you so much for watching. Like, share, leave a comment below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.